All right, what are we working on today?
That is a good question. Read that and tell me if that makes any sense to you. I've been trying to figure out throw.
Okay.
And I went through another one of Dr. Dave's videos and wrote all this down. And I was working on it a little bit down at the pool hall earlier today. And one of the things I haven't really sorted out with the whole thing is how much to pay attention to that.
Okay.
As you know, there are lots of helpful people down around the pool hall,
Mm-hmm.
some more helpful than others.
Yes.
But one
They,
fellow,
they can be dangerous if they don't know exactly what they're talking about.
yeah. Well, there's one guy who's saying, he spends a lot of time just making sure that every ball or every hit with a cue is center cue ball.
Okay.
And basically stay away from English until you really know what you're doing. I think you've said the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
more or less. But then when I started looking at this whole throw thing, there are cut shots that I miss, and I'm not sure why I'm missing them. I thought, well, maybe it's the issue with the cut and deuce throw. So Dr. Dave has this cool little drill that he did where you take a strike ball and you put it like that.
Okay.
And then if you hit it from an angle with no outside English,
Yep.
the stripe wobbles on the way in. If you hit it with just the right amount, it goes straight in with no wobble at all. That okay, that is probably a pretty good demonstration of what the throw is. But what I haven't figured out is when and how I should be incorporating that little bit of outside English in it.
Okay. First, let's just make sure we understand exactly what cut induced and spin induced throw and all of that stuff are.
Please, that was me trying to understand it when I wrote all that stuff out.
So instead of going into a pocket, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, the drill that we do, right? We've talked about this drill where you put the ball on the spot, you shoot it up and down the table and try not to have the ball wobble, right? So we're going to do the same thing with a ball just touching it. And the reason we use a ball instead of just shooting the cue ball is because we can line up the exact aim, right? Instead of trying to hit this on the contact point, this is on the contact point. The exact contact point we want, which is right in the middle of that strike. Okay? And we're going to hit it straight down towards that spot down there. Okay? So what I'd like you to do, 45-degree angle, medium speed. Shoot it straight at the 6 as if the 6 isn't even there and you're cutting the ball down the table.
Okay.
Okay? Now you notice a couple of things.
Wobbled a lot.
It wobbled a lot. And we are aimed
straight down, but it didn't go there.
It did not. And so we'll aim this straight down the table. You can even hit it a little bit softer, just so you can have time to watch the action. So right now, this is where the ball is aimed. Oops.
Right there. And it's moving way over to the side.
Right. So let's set up exactly the same shot. Put this in exactly the same place. Aimed right at that 15 mil. And this time we're going to hit it from this side.
Should go the opposite direction.
Should go the opposite direction. We'll see how much. Pretty much
close.
Pretty much exactly the same. This is the difference between the two. Right? That right there is the difference in throw that you're going to get from different directions. That is not the size of a pocket, is it? Along the length of the table. So, yes, it's true that you will, it is possible that when, like, say you have a shot like this and you're trying to shoot this in the corner pocket, right? and you aim it exactly right, there's a good chance you're going to hit the rail,
Yep.
right? So you have to compensate for that somehow.
Mm-hmm.
You can compensate that with for one of two ways. One is to overcut it,
Mm-hmm.
right? If we know that if you do this test on a table with the balls that you're playing with, determine how far it goes
Mm-hmm.
for that distance, that's 3/4 of the table at about 5 inches, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a medium speed. Slower speeds will give you more,
Mm-hmm.
and faster speeds will give you less of a cut, less of a throw, I mean.
Why does slower speed do that? Is it because it has more time to
Essentially, yeah.
to hit the friction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have two different ways that we can compensate for it.
Mm-hmm.
One is to aim here,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's simulate that. I'm going to simulate this shot just like we did before. We're going to aim right at that 6 ball. Same thing. Medium speed, straight at the 1.
Close
And even
enough.
so,
Just a little bit more throw than.
yep. So let's aim about here. So about the same distance from
Mm-hmm.
the middle here to there, from there to the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Put it there. We'll aim this right at the 6. Make sure they're touching. Okay, go ahead. Medium speed. Boom. So that right there is your proof of cut-induced throw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no spin on the cue ball. Just it's going to roll, but no spin. So that's what's going to happen. With cleaner balls, you'll get less.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to really kind of test it out on the table that you're at,
Well,
that you're on.
and if I'm down at Crown, they're usually not very clean.
No, not usually.
Although every once in a while I go in, it looks like they just washed them all. They're real shiny.
Yeah, I don't know how often they clean them. So the two ways that you can compensate. One of them is what we just showed.
Mm-hmm.
You overcut it, right? You think what you're going to do, you're going to make it. You're aiming for that pocket down there, right? That's what you want to shoot it in. But you're going to aim to the left of it. In this case, I don't know if it's because it's cold, because maybe I haven't cleaned my balls in a while, but you're getting a lot of throw. And it's also you're shooting at a medium speed. Shoot at a higher speed, then I would cut this compensation down a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
maybe here. But you're going to aim it like that, and you're going to find the contact point. Once you know the contact point on this ball, you don't care about the pocket anymore, right? Find the contact point, shoot your shot. So go ahead and give it a try.
I may have hit that just a little bit harder than I needed to.
Now, remember to come over here and find your contact point,
Mm-hmm.
as if you're shooting at the 6. And then you're going to have to trust it. Don't let your brain compensate or anything, okay? Trust it. Find that contact point and shoot it exactly. Medium speed. There you go. So that's one way to compensate. Now on the longer shots, shooting with English is the other way to compensate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The idea there being that the throw happens when these two balls have friction against each other, right? So if you are cutting the ball, it's going to push the ball that way.
Mm-hmm.
If you are spinning the ball, you get that same effect of rubbing between the two
Right.
balls. If you
This
spin
one
the
will go
other
the
way,
opposite direction.
if you spin the other way and it kind of it hits this, but not with any force in either direction, then you're going to negate that throw, right? That's the idea, is you have what they call gearing English. I'm sure that's what Dr. Dave calls it.
That's exactly what he calls it.
So, and the thing is you don't need a lot of English to do that. It just needs to be spinning a little bit. So you can hit maybe a half a tip of English.
And
if you want to
minimize the sort of squirt and what was the other term?
The throw, not the squirt. Squirt is different, completely different thing. That's what you get when you hit off center. The ball will kind of squirt offline a little bit. But with a half a tip of English, it's not going to do it that much.
That looks like about a half a tip there.
There you go.
And you don't really need to adjust that amount of English very much for how far you're going.
No, the idea is that amount of English, what you do have to adjust is if you are using the aim compensation, then for a longer distance, it's farther, right? This is the line you want, right?
Right.
And this is the line that you have to aim when you're just adjusting by aim, right? So you can see that for this distance, it's about 6 inches. But if you're only this far away from the pocket,
right,
then it's a shorter distance.
Yep.
Right? So if you're shooting this into the pocket, let's give this a try again. Again, 45 degrees, when you have a glancing angle, there's not as much friction between the two balls. When you have a very steep cut. And when you have a very long, very straight cut, there is more friction, but not a whole lot going in this direction.
Right. So 45 degrees is probably the worst.
Yes. 45 degrees is going to give you the most friction and most effect on the ball. And then about a medium speed is going to cause probably the biggest deflection. Okay. So what I want you to do is just shoot this shot. But what I want you to do is I want you to, when you line up the shot, to find your contact point, I want you to aim it here.
Aim it there. Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
This is for no English. Okay. This is just a straight shot. Don't worry about scratching. You probably scratch, but that's okay.
Right down the middle.
Exactly. And that's the point, right? The compensation for the side pocket here, since it's only about 1 diamond, is a very little amount. When you're shooting out almost the full length of the table, it's a bigger amount. Same amount of deflection or same amount of throw, right? But over distance, that amount becomes bigger, obviously. So when you're shooting shots into the side pocket, whenever you're cutting balls into the side pocket, especially if you don't want to use English, using follow, using draw, no English at all, just at the very least, instead of aiming at the center of the pocket, we've always talked about our target being the center of the pocket, right? Which is the center of the front of the lip of the pocket. Instead of that, divide this in half from the point to the center. So right about there. Just aim there instead. Right? With throw, it's going to go this way somewhere.
Right.
Maybe even as far as this. But that gives you a lot of room for error.
Yeah, it's a big hole at that point.
Right. So if you want to be as accurate as possible and pocket as many side pocket shots as possible, overcut it a little bit. Now, if you're using English, let's say you're shooting this shot and you want some English because you're using the only reason you're using English is for positioning off of the rails, right? So let's say you want to do some running English around the rails. Now, you're not going to aim here. You're going to aim in the center.
So the amount of running English I give will that affect the movement of the object ball?
You know
very
what?
much?
Not a whole lot. We can do, here, let's do this test. So come back over here. So we did the 45-degree test to see how far it would deflect off center, right?
Right.
Now what I want you to do, with these two pretty close, I want you to use, go ahead and chalk up, I want you to use about a full tip of English. And just hit that ball as straight as possible. Right at the contact point. You're close enough that you don't have to worry about squirt. So just do a parallel shift over. Okay? Don't shoot it too hard. Just,
Right.
You see what it did?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I want you to shoot it softer now. I want you
Yeah,
to shoot about medium speed.
really hit that harder than I needed to.
Yeah. Okay, so you're aimed right here. This is what I want you to try to hit. Okay, medium speed.
Well, it goes way over to the side, doesn't it?
It does a little bit, yeah. You may have, it's a little bit harder to test because you can't just put a ball in front
Yeah,
like
I
we
might
did
hit it a
before.
little off center.
It's possible you hit it a little bit off, yeah. So try a couple of them. So you get kind of an average of, okay.
All right, so set up the straight shot,
Straight shot
which is that,
and
then
just parallel shift over, yes. Now you see how the cue ball went over here?
Mm-hmm.
The reason it went over this way is because you shot the ball over this way,
Huh.
but the throw compensated for it. That cue ball shouldn't move. When you hit the 6 ball, it should stop in place and just spin. That's how you know you hit it straight.
Okay, let's try that one more time.
And you'll notice the ball went off to the right,
Mm-hmm.
to your right, which is
So-
why this ball went farther to the left. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, it does throw, but how much did it throw? You'll know how accurate it is once the cue ball doesn't drift to the left or right after your shot.
Goes back to the whole hit the ball straight.
Exactly.
Coming over a little bit, not a ton.
Let me give it a try.
Yeah, my guess is you have a straighter stroke than I do. One would hope.
Okay, let's see how accurate I can be.
Still
So,
got that much.
Mine scored it over just a little bit, but that may have been because of the throw more
Mhm.
than, right? The gearing motion between the two basically makes them want to do this,
Mhm.
right? Like that. So that's essentially what happened here. We'll try one more time.
That was very little.
Yep.
And that's probably the point you're trying to show me, is that it doesn't make that much difference.
Yeah.
That
It's
was right down the middle.
yeah. The spin induced throw doesn't really cause a lot of throw,
Mhm.
but it does help overcompensate. It does help you compensate for
For the cut.
for a cut induced throw.
Mhm.
So I want you to carefully observe where I hit the ball and then where the 6 ball goes.
All right, got just a little bit to this side.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, you
But it
know,
was pretty
by
straight.
doing, I wasn't really aiming at anything in particular.
Mhm.
I was just, that's why I wanted you just to observe where it hit on the ball compared to where the 6 ball goes, right? Here, I will try to shoot this one right down the center.
Pretty close.
Yeah, and I used a little bit of left-hand English to negate the throw. So,
Mhm.
so the idea behind the spin, a little bit of spin, is that it will negate the throw, but on a straight shot, you're not going to add a lot of throw. spin-induced throw is much less effective than cut-induced throw.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the other thing. Even though we were doing this, here. Watch this. I want to show you something. And we probably should have done this right from the beginning. But okay, so this is aimed at the spot. And I hit this medium speed. You can see where it goes, right? Mm-hmm. All right, let me have that one back. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to line up a couple of balls. Well, actually, what I'm going to do is, instead of a couple of balls, this is going to help. That's not going to do it. It's just going to hit that straight. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to pull this back a little bit, straight at the cue ball, and then do my shot. About the same. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's the thing I worry about, is the moment of contact, when all three of these balls are touching, you've basically got two of these balls pushing on this ball. Mm-hmm. at the moment of contact. I thought that might have an effect, but it doesn't seem to. So our theory holds true. Cut-induced throw. Now I'm going to hit it a little harder.
A lot less.
Yep.
Half as much.
Exactly. So there's a lot of different variables here. How hard you hit it, how much speed you're using, how much is the cut angle. Mm-hmm. A lot of factors there. Mm-hmm. So yes, you can compensate by adjusting your aim, but you have to be able to accurately do that based on how much cut you have, how hard you're going to shoot the ball, how far away from the pocket you are. There's a lot of factors. Or you put a half a tip of running English, right? Gearing English, and don't worry about any of the rest.
It seems like that would be a simpler approach.
It is, but you need to have a really good grasp of shooting with English, mm-hmm. shooting straight.
And I suppose the other thing is that if you need more or less English for some other reason, then you're back to adjusting the cut.
Again, the English doesn't do a lot, right? The English doesn't add a lot of friction mm-hmm. to really throw off. So if you have half a tip of English is enough to do the gearing English. A tip and a half of English isn't going to change that much.
Oh, really?
Right.
So a half to 1.5.
It's not going to, it's the gearing English is still going to work for you. It's still mm-hmm. going to be fairly accurate. But obviously, 1.5 tips of English puts a lot of spin on the cue ball, and it's unnecessary English unless you need it.
Well, yeah, and I guess what I'm trying to learn is when I need it, and obviously avoid using it anytime I can avoid doing so. Somewhere is my pen. I just want to make a quick note on this sheet. Okay, cut. Throw is much greater than spin-induced throw. Okay. An amount of gearing English. Relatively unimportant.
As long as there's some.
Okay.
So a lot of times, as an example, this is a shot that comes up a lot. Cutting this ball into the corner pocket right there, uh-huh. right? And I don't know. I mean, I do this. I've done this a lot. For whatever reason, I need to shoot softly. Like maybe I need to get shape on this ball or something, right? Mm-hmm. So I need to shoot it fairly soft. I line up my aim, and for most shots, this should go in. But, well, okay, good. But many times, I might have subconsciously overcorrected, you know. But many times a shot like this, that's what happens.
Well, that happens to me a lot, and I've been trying to figure out why that is, and I think I just figured out what it is.
On a shot like that, you have to decide, you know, it's a steep cut, a little more than 45, but it's not a heck of a lot more. Remember, this is your line, so 45 degrees is like, that's pretty close to 45-degree angle into that pocket. Now we know, I don't know if you remember, but the rule of thumb for a 45-degree shot is you imagine a piece of chalk right next to the ball, in line with the ball there, and you aim at the center of that piece of chalk. That's a 45-degree cut.
I don't think we talked about it. I know it's a quarter ball cut is what the book kind of says.
It's a little thicker than a quarter ball cut.
Okay.
But if you're shooting it softly, you can see that it kind of grabs a little bit and pulls it off of that line. So
if you put a little bit of Gearing English on that, that should take care of that cut and deuce throw.
Yep.
So just half a tip is quite sufficient. Look at that.
Now, the thing you have to remember with the amount of English compared to the strength of, or the speed of your shot, and you can test this out with a ball. When a ball is spinning while it's going down the table, it has kind of a sideways look to it, right? It looks like it's spinning on its side at an angle like that. When it stops spinning, but it's still rolling forward, that comes up so that it's rolling vertically. And you can see that, especially with a stripe. So you can see the ball here. See that? It's rolling, but it's also spinning, so it kind of looks like it's rolling like this. Do it one more time, the other way. See, kind of has that tilt to the side as it's spinning. Now, if we hit it softer, and with not as much spin, you can still see the spin, but you can see it straighten up. See that? Now it's rolling straight. Even with a lot of, if I hit it softly with a lot of spin, you can see it, and then now it's rolling straight.
The spin starts to come out.
Exactly. So that what the ball is doing is this.
Yeah, it slows down, but the forward motion and the friction from the cloth continues.
It's going to keep rolling, but it's going to stop spinning. And even if it's spinning that much, it stops spinning pretty quickly.
And that's just friction from the cloth.
That's exactly. So if you're going to do some running English on this ball, you don't want to hit it too soft.
Oh, because you'll lose it before you get to it.
So there's lots of different things that you can do, and this is where you get into some really advanced pool. If you seriously need this cue ball to stop, right, you probably better off just overcutting it and just don't use any English. But if you need to use English, you could do a drag shot. And your cue ball will still have the spin by the time it gets there, and the drag shot will slow the ball down because you don't want to hit it super hard. You need to leave, position for maybe a ball like right here. So you didn't want to hit that too hard and come out and not have a shot on this ball. So you use the drag shot, which allows you to hit the ball harder, which allows the spin to keep
more spin going.
So the spin keeps going. It's not going to die off.
Hadn't thought about that, but that actually makes
yeah, like I said,
just hadn't thought about it.
You're starting to get into some some kind of advanced stuff there. But if you want to use gearing English, just hit a little bit harder with some drag. See, it was still
And
spinning,
there you are. Uh-huh.
even though it was going super slow by the time it got to the ball. The drag shot is a way of getting some momentum on the ball, but having it slow down as it gets there.
Yeah, I hadn't actually thought about it that way before.
Exactly.
There's
There-
so much of this game.
I know there is. There's so many variables, and there's variables I haven't even talked about. So I mean, it can get very complex. But how do you feel about what we've talked about, though?
Oh, this makes great sense. This is fabulous. I think it's going to help my game a fair amount. One of the things that has changed since the last time I was here is I have rearranged my aiming system.
Okay.
I was doing a lot of, what's the angle, go by the angle, figure out where to do it. And now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to look at the contact point I want.
Okay.
The contact, and, I want to cut that ball in.
Mm-hmm.
There's that contact point.
Mm-hmm.
Contact point that's mirror image on this ball is here. And to make that hit that, I have to aim there. And I think ultimately that's a more accurate way of aiming than trying to figure out angles.
It is. It is.
And eventually I hope it becomes intuitive so I don't have to think about it so much each time.
Let me talk about the geometry of that, and maybe it'll click and make sense. I think we have talked about this before, but this is what we call the double. What do they call that? Double the distance from the center ball. So
Yeah.
here's what you're doing.
Yeah, you talked about that
Yeah.
on my first lesson.
Okay. Yeah, that may have been too early to do that.
Well, no,
But-
it was an aiming system, and it said, look at that contact, walk where you're going to be, see what the distance is, take half of it, aim there.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
Pretty close. So,
Close. Rats.
well, we're going to use the 30-degree first,
Okay.
and then we'll kind of explain how that works, and then we'll adapt it to other angles.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're going to do is, this ball is your ghost ball. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Let's
Excuse
sorry. Let's actually use a ghost ball. Okay.
me. Ooh,
So
I haven't seen one like that.
yeah, this thing's cool. Your aim spot is the dot.
Right.
Okay. So this is where you want to hit the ball into the pocket, right?
Mhm.
That orange dot, it's floating in the middle of space, and it's really not that easy to figure out where. I'm going to take these two balls, and the center where they're touching, directly in line with these, touching that, making a triangle that points directly at the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you need to be careful not to do this. Okay, make sure it's nice and straight. Everything is lined up. Now, you'll agree, I'm assuming, that this triangle is an equilateral triangle.
Yes.
60 degrees, 60 degrees, 60 degrees.
Mhm.
What is half of 60 degrees?
30.
30 degrees from this line to the line of these two balls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If you had a cue ball right here, aimed at the ghost ball to put that ball in the pocket, that's a 30-degree cut
Mhm.
because of this line here being 30 degrees off of this line,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you can actually take this, line it up with those balls. Now the other thing I want you to observe is that because of the 30 degrees, center of this ball, center of that ball is aimed directly at the edge of
Edge
this
of that ball. Yes.
That's the rule of 30-degree cuts,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is how you can measure exactly 30 degrees without having to use protractors and all that stuff. 3 balls in a triangle, right at your contact point. Line up this ball with one of the legs, either there or there,
Mm-hmm.
of that triangle, right there. Then take all these out. Now, if you look at the contact point, so the edge, the center of this ball is aimed at that edge of the ball, right?
Mhm.
It's lined up with that edge, which means the center of the object ball is also lined up with the edge of the ghost ball, right?
Mhm.
They're parallel. So that's a half ball hit. If you look at the two balls together, it's eclipsing exactly half the ball,
Mhm.
right? Whereas the contact point, if you're looking at it from this direction, in relation to, let's look at the object ball, because the ghost ball doesn't exist. The object ball edge, the object ball center, where's the contact point in comparison to those two?
I'd say that again. The contact point of here is the same as the contact point here. It's it's 180 degree opposite
Right.
of there.
I'm talking about the point where these two balls are touching is the contact point.
Yeah.
That dot, that point, in relation to the middle of the ball and the edge of the ball, from the direction of the cue ball at 30 degrees, right?
Is exactly half.
It's exactly in the center of those two,
Mhm.
right? If you were to imagine the little orange dot in the middle of that ball, no matter what direction you're looking at it, it's always in the center,
Mhm.
right? It's in the center of the mass of the two balls every time. So if you look at these two balls, the ghost ball and the object ball, no matter where you aim this from, you have to look at the overlap. So if you look at the center of that ball and the center of your ghost ball, your contact point is halfway between the two,
Mhm.
right? So we're going to go, what we're trying to find out though is not the contact point. We know the contact point. We know where the center of that ball is. We know where the contact point is. We just need to know where the center of the ghost ball is.
Mhm.
Okay? And the way we do that is we look at our contact point. And we're right here. So we're looking at it from this point of view.
Mhm.
Center of the ball is there. Contact point is there. I double that, and that's my shot. That's where I'm shooting at. In this case, it's the edge of the 11. Make sense?
Okay, so let me say that back to you. So if I
Okay.
figure out I've got this right.
All right.
Center of the ball, center of the ghost ball, and it actually doesn't matter where this ball is in relationship to it because I am still trying to get to the center of the ghost ball.
Yes.
So if the center's there and the center's there, and you roll that out, then we know that the center of the ghost ball is right here. And then however far I move over here, if you leave your finger in the same place, you can see.
You're aiming at a different spot on this ball.
Right, but I'm aiming at the same spot here.
Yes.
And then I guess one of the questions I'd ask is, do I focus my aim on this spot, or do I focus my aim on the center of this on the edge of that?
What you have to do, what I'm asking you to do,
Mm-hmm.
is convert this whole 3D thing into a 2D image. Okay. This is the light. Okay. This is where your eye is looking from. From this direction, you're looking at two balls,
Mm-hmm.
but in the 2D world, you're looking at two circles that are overlapped a certain amount.
Okay, we're looking at this plane, not that plane.
Correct. We're looking
Okay.
at this plane right here.
Okay.
Okay. So what you have to do is you have to figure out, okay, well, here's the center of my object ball.
Uh-huh.
Somewhere in here is the contact point.
Mm-hmm.
The more I cut like that, my contact point is way out here.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm straight in, my contact point is directly in the center,
Mm-hmm.
right? So as I'm getting thinner and thinner, the contact point is moving away from that center of the ball, center of the circle,
Mm-hmm.
right? So all I have to do is picture in my mind, where's the center of the ball? Where's the contact point? Double that and shoot at that point. That point might be the edge of the ball. It might be inside the ball. So let's actually draw it. Then maybe that'll click. So here's my object ball. Okay. That's probably the best circle I've ever drawn. If the pocket, so this is this is the center of the object ball.
Right.
Okay. This will be, I just put the wrong cap on there. Okay. This is going to be our contact point.
Mm-hmm.
If the pocket, now we're looking at the ball, pretend this is a 3D object
Right.
ball,
And
and
the
my cue
pocket's in
ball is
front
right
of
here.
us. Okay.
Pocket is right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
Then the contact point is going to be in the same spot. It's
Right.
a straight shot, right? Contact point is right in front of it. This is a ball, it's actually right here. As we cut more and more,
Mm-hmm.
pocket's in the same place, but now we're shooting from over here. Or if you want to look at it this way, from a flat plane, cue ball is always right in front of it, but now the pocket, instead of being back here, it's over here, right? This is your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to cut into that pocket. So the contact point might be right there.
Mm-hmm.
This distance, you got to picture in your mind this distance here. Double it.
Double it.
This becomes your aim point.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a ghost ball, think about this. If there was a ghost ball,
It would be over there.
it would be like this, and this would be the center of the ghost ball. That's not a perfect drawing, but
It's
you
kind of
get
an
the
egg,
idea.
but
Yeah.
the first one was really
First
good.
one was great, but that's the idea. The idea is that this dot is the center of a little football shape.
Mm-hmm.
That's the left side of the object ball and the right side of your ghost ball. It's always in the center. So the center of my object ball, or my ghost ball, is right here, right? And you can see that is the center of the ghost ball.
Okay. All right, now let me look at this again from here. So that goes here. I move over here to 30 degrees, and all of a sudden, the center of that, well, actually, that's the center of the ball. That's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the contact point. The contact point, let's make the contact point the 10, because that's easy to see.
Okay.
Okay, so here, contact point is here. If I move to here, this moves over this much, double it to right there.
Now don't double around the ball. Double in the plane. Okay. So this
Double the
is.
plane. What do you mean by that?
I'll show you. This is the center of the object ball.
Right.
This is the contact point.
Right.
In line right about there. If I draw a line straight across, you're in line with the contact point right here.
Okay.
So double that straight out. Your aim point. So let's do it for 30 degrees. We'll put the 10. Actually, let's make this our ball.
Yep.
Okay. And then the red dot is our contact point.
Right.
Okay. So we're going to line this up at exactly 30 degrees, which is right there.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now let's get rid of these. A little white dot there. Okay. Now, when you are here, this is the cue ball. The contact point
in the middle
is in line right from the ball. The contact point and the center of the object ball are in the same line. But when we're over here, we're going to be shooting in this direction. So on this line, we pretend that we have shadows on a piece of paper behind it, right?
Okay.
This ball makes a shadow here, and it's got a center.
Okay, that's what
the contact point from our little flashlight here hits the paper here. There's your distance between the contact point and the center of the ball. See that?
Yep.
Double that, and you're right here. And lo and behold, with a 30-degree angle, that's right. The edge of the ball.
Half ball hit.
Right. So we're not measuring halfway around the edge of this ball. We're actually cutting the ball in half and just looking at the circle of that ball.
Yeah. Okay, that I didn't get before. That makes sense now. Huh, okay. So that ball's cut in half, the front half is gone, and I'm looking at that, going there, doubling it, and aiming in that spot.
You're aiming right at that spot. So let's do, you understand that a 30-degree angle, you aim at the edge, it's going to go in the pocket.
Right.
You understand that principle, and we've just explained why.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's do a different angle. And this one's a nice, easy one to picture as well, because you can again use some balls. So instead of 30 degrees, we're going to widen that angle a little bit. Make this into an exact square.
So you got a 45-degree angle.
This is a 45-degree angle.
Mm-hmm.
What's great is you can picture that with a piece of chalk in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what we can do is we can take that piece of chalk, put it in line. So again, 45 degrees, right, is like that. That's 45-degree cut.
Mm-hmm.
45-degree cut goes outside this ball.
Mm-hmm.
But that happens to be the center of a piece of chalk. See that? So
that.
And the reason I tell you this is not because I want you to always picture a piece of chalk there on a 45-degree cut. This is to help with the principle of learning where to aim depending on where the contact point is. Okay. So now, if you go back to our flashlight here, shining this onto a wall, center of the ball is right here.
Mm-hmm.
Contact point is right here. See that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Double that, and where does it bring you? Right, the center
Middle of the chalk.
Right in the center of that piece of chalk. So your aiming point is not on the ball; it's actually a little off the ball.
Right.
But as long as you can picture that in your mind, you can see this distance here and double it, and just picture where that is. Now, once you get down on the shot, shoot that. Where'd you put your stick? So go walk through it.
All right. How I would normally do that is I would look at that
to get
my aiming point.
Your contact point.
My contact point, correct. Contact point. You know, I also have a tendency to look and see what that angle is, and that's pretty much a 45-degree angle. So then I come around here. I have to go twice that distance
between the center and the contact point.
Uh-huh.
Double that.
That brings that to right out there. And of course, if I did that with a little backspin, it wouldn't probably go in the corner pocket.
45-degree, one diamond out will always scratch. Something to it's a little rule of thumb to know.
45-degree, one diamond out will always scratch.
If this ball is one diamond away and you're shooting a 45-degree angle with natural rolling cue ball, it will come off and deflect forward and roll in the corner pocket.
Right, and that's why you want to give it a lot of draw, because that should straighten it out according to the 90-degree rule.
Exactly. Or if you're shooting this ball and you have a 45-degree cut, you know you're not going to scratch because it's going to hit the rail first and come out. Or if you're a little farther out and you're at a 45-degree angle, that's not going to scratch either.
Yep, should hit down there.
Hit right about here. But we don't care about that right now. All we're doing is just figuring out this aim rule. So this is a 45-degree cut.
45-degree cut.
I want you to picture the contact point.
Contact point, excuse me, is right there. As we
keep your eye on the contact point as you rotate around behind your ball, and observe how far away it is from the center.
Yeah, it's there, and twice as much is there.
Okay. Now that you've seen where twice as much is, aim at that spot. How confident do you feel about this technique?
It makes really good sense to me. And I've been kind of trying to tune my eye, but I think it's more of a by gosh and by golly, as opposed to really thinking about how to do that. Because what I've been doing is, looking at the contact point and looking at the cue ball and thinking the cue ball to contact there needs to hit at that angle, which is pretty much the same angle, but it's
a little, the reason that aiming the contact points is difficult, some people can do it. I think I can do it. I'm pretty good at it. But it's difficult for some people because you can't see this contact point.
right.
You're behind the ball, so you can't see it. So you have to picture it in your mind's eye. Now, we're really good at estimating space in 3D, so most of us are pretty good at doing that. But if that's the case and you can see that contact point in your mind's eye as you get down on the shot, then just line up the contact points.
Well, see, that's kind of what I've been teaching myself to do. That's still right in that same spot.
It's exactly the same result. It's the same. So here's what we're doing.
I mean, the sub question I'd ask in all that is, which is going to serve me better in the long term? I suppose the answer is both.
The answer is whatever works for you,
Well, yeah.
One of them, the one where I'm telling you to double the distance from the center, that's to help you dial in and help you understand. It's kind of like learning a system, right? When after you've used that system for a year or two, you're not going to use the system anymore, right? You're told to put your hands on 10 and 2, and you're told to do certain things when you learn how to drive. But now when you drive, you don't think about that stuff. You just do it. Just natural, right? You do what comes naturally. So that's the whole idea behind this, is you learn these systems to get you to a place quicker. And then once you're in that place, you don't need the system anymore. You still understand it, but you don't need it. Or if anything, you're thinking about it, something, right? So now we're looking top down at the ball.
Okay.
So here's your cue ball. And here's your contact point. Here's your contact point, right? So this is essentially the aim that you want, right? So if we draw this contact point through, then we can see that this doubled is here, right? Because we're always on the perpendicular plane to the line of the shot. And this happens to be exactly where the center of this ball is going to be aimed, right? So that's really all there is to it. It's exactly the same thing. So you can either use the system to find out, okay, here's the contact point, here's the line, or here's the contact point. I don't have to know exactly where this line is. I just know approximately where it is. It's from this ball through here. So here's the contact point. I draw a line to my plane here from there, draw a double, and that becomes this becomes my aim point, or wherever I picture it, right? And then that's your shot. Aiming the contact points is exactly aimed on that same exact line. So whichever technique works for you, that's what you use. And that is much more accurate than...
It's saying it's a little less than a half a ball.
Well,
which is what I did for a while. And
you can look at your shots. There's nothing wrong with looking at your shot and going, you know what? You do the little peace sign to figure out what 30 degrees is, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways. Eventually, you'll be like, okay, that's about... there's a lot of different ways. Eventually, you'll be like, okay, that's about 30 degrees. But what if I'm here? That's not exactly 30 degrees.
Nope.
It's a little less than 30 degrees. Now, I know a 30-degree shot is the edge of the ball. If it's just a little under 30 degrees, why don't I shoot inside that ball maybe a half a millimeter? Right? Instead of aiming at the edge,
Right.
aiming a little inside.
Right.
Or if I'm a little bit outside, instead of aiming at the edge, I aim a little bit outside.
And that's how I did that for a while. And then little by little, I've been trying to figure out how to be more accurate. And I think contact point is a better way to do that.
If that works for you, then that is absolutely the best method for you.
Well, it's like I say, I'm working through all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm still working through my funky vision issue, which has been fun. Okay, contact point. I hadn't been visualizing the plane and back before. That makes so much more sense. I was trying to look at the curvature of the ball, which is really confusing.
Yeah. Either you think of it as, shadow puppetry, and you got a ball behind the casting shadows, or think of it as from where the ball is, you're just chopping this ball in half and just looking at the circle.
Right. Yeah, that makes so much more sense. So like I say, how I understood this the first time you explained it to me is I was trying to watch the shadow go across the curve of the ball, but that brings it back. And that, it's
Yeah.
There's some hyperbole formula that would explain why that's inaccurate.
Right.
Huh. Great.
All right.
Another little gem.
Yeah. You feel comfortable with this?
Yeah. It's it's one of those things where I'm tuning my eye to the aim, and the aim's getting better. My stroke is getting more better. That's why I'm shooting better. I actually shot a 43 in league the other day, which is not bad for me.
Nice. We actually thought about coming down to see you. In fact, we had talked about going tomorrow night. You're shooting tomorrow night, right?
No, we have a buy tomorrow night.
Oh, do you really? Oh, that's funny.
Which is all. I'm glad we talked about this ahead of time. Our team is Geezers and Sons. So I talked to a friend of mine. He's coming with his son-in-law, and my son-in-law is coming. And we've been having a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been winning much, but we've been having fun.
Cool.
Because the two sons are jocks, and they both have a really good eye for the game.
Yeah.
I try and convince them both they need to come spend a little time with you because you will sharpen them up considerably. The other geezer is really not very good. And haven't been able to convince him to come get lessons. The thing is that he stands like this and goes, whang, which every once in a while the ball goes in.
Yeah. Well, you can lead a horse to water, right?
Yes.
So you can talk to them. I'm happy to help them out if they're willing.
Well, you've helped
Some people
me a lot. You
Good.
really have.
Good. I'm glad.
But like you said way at the beginning, it's practice, practice, practice.
Yes.
If
you don't, I could teach you everything there is to know about the game, or everything I know about the game at least. And if you don't practice, if you don't actually get on a table and try the things that I've talked about, it's like reading a book. You can read the book about it, but if you don't actually get on the table and try the things you've seen and practice it, you're not going to get any better.
Well, I get in about 6 hours of practice every week.
Really? That's good.
I go Wednesdays and Fridays and Saturdays and sometimes Sundays. Sunday's a little bit of a scene over there.
Yeah.
You have to get there at 2:30. You don't get a table at all.
Yeah.
And it's loud.
Yeah.
But like I say, I do drills and do this and that. And people come up and make some interesting suggestions. One guy talked to me a lot about eye work. What are you looking at? And I was kind of in the habit of watching the object ball. But one of the things he pointed out when he watched me carefully is I'm not necessarily hitting the cue ball where I think I am. And then maybe the best thing to do is line the shot up, then look at the cue and follow that one through. And then keep your eye down as opposed to popping up to look at it. He described it as being like golf. You hit the ball, but if you look where the ball's going, it screws up your swing every single time. I don't know if the analogy fits or not.
I don't think the analogy is totally accurate when it comes to pool.
How do you think the eye work should work?
It's different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You should definitely. This is a game of precision, so the first thing you want to make sure is that you are hitting the cue ball exactly where you want to hit it. You know, you don't want to put some draw on it and come over here somewhere. You want to put some draw on it and draw it exactly to here, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're really, even when you're planning out patterns, where you want to make the cue ball into this area here to shoot the 8-ball next. I still like to be as accurate as possible. I still like to say, okay, this is where I'm going for, but I really want to be in the center of it. If this is my zone, right, then I'm aiming right for the center of that zone. That's where I want the cue ball to stop. Now, I don't want a straight in shot on the 8-ball, so this isn't my zone. My zone is actually over here, right? Because maybe this isn't the 8-ball, this is another ball, and I want to get up the table after that. So I want to stop the ball somewhere on this side. So my zone is actually from here to the rail. So really what I want to do is just barely touch that rail. So then I can get down on the shot. I know I want to put follow. I want to put about a half a tip of right on it. I know how much power I want to use. I'm looking at the cue ball, I'm making sure my aim is okay. Looking at the cue ball. Once I've got that all dialed in and my stance is good and I'm comfortable, I don't need to look at the cue ball anymore. That was terrible delivery, but the point being that if you get down on your stance for the ball and you feel comfortable, and then you get down right where you want to hit the cue ball, you want to put a nice little draw on it, right? And you feel loose. Now you're also looking at your aim, make sure everything is correct. Once it's good, you don't have to look at the cue ball anymore. You can look at the 8-ball. But you're really looking at both of them. And by the time I'm ready to deliver, I'm not really focused on either one. That's what I've noticed about myself. I'm not focused on the cue ball, making sure I hit it right in the right spot. I know I'm going to hit it in the right spot because my cue stick is aimed at that spot, and I'm not going to waver in my stroke. Right? I'm not going to stand up. I'm not going to get a wonky stroke. I'm going to deliver it nice and straight. So I trust myself to hit that exactly where I need to. And my aim on the 10-ball is accurate. I believe it's accurate. I trust that it's going to go in the pocket. So I don't need to really stare at the 10-ball. I have no need to really look at either one. Here, I'm focused on the cue ball right there, right? Nope. Actually, what I want to do, I'm going to put some follow on it with some side spin. And then I need to make sure that with that, I have the right aim. Now everything feels locked in. Once everything is locked in, now I'm really just kind of, my mind is focused on the whole big picture. I'm not looking at a specific point on the cue ball. I'm not looking at a specific point on the 10-ball. Once I'm going to be looking at both because I got to look at the 10 to figure out exactly where I'm aiming. I got to look at the cue ball to figure exactly where I'm going to hit it. Once I've got all that stuff locked in and I'm lined up and I say to myself, green light, right? I got this shot. Then it's just a matter of delivering. Delivering the speed that I want to deliver and putting the cue ball where I want it to go. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to that. Just make sure that you're aimed right. You're going to hit the object ball in the right place. You're going to hit the cue ball in the right place to do whatever it is you want to do. Once that all is locked in, you can stare off into space because your body's not going to move. You've seen the like, in The Color of Money, where he does that thing where he looks off to the side and then shoots his shot, right?
I haven't seen that movie in a while, but I ought to go back and look at it just for the pool play.
You could do that. You could sit there and go, okay, I feel very, very comfortable about this. So I could just look at you and shoot the shot with no problem because I didn't move my body. Everything was lined up, right?
Mhm.
Imagine if you had a rifle with a laser sight and it was on a tripod
Mhm.
and you had a remote to shoot it. You would come up, you'd point the gun, make sure that the laser was pointed right at where it needed to go. Everything was locked in. When you're not touching it, it's locked in exactly the right spot. What can you do? At this point, you can walk away,
Oh, push the button.
push the button whenever you want to, and you know it's going to hit the target because you already figured out
It's
all the
already
other
lined
stuff.
up.
It's exactly the same with this, right? Now, if you're one of those people who moves around a lot in your shot, you get down and you're constantly moving around, and you're not going to want to look up because
Yeah,
you're not
'cause
locked
something's
in.
moved around.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm locked in right now, right? But if I can get down on the shot, I can shut my eyes and I can still make that shot because I never moved.
Mhm.
That might be a good thing for you to practice. It'll help you to train yourself not to move around, to get locked in, and then you're locked in. And number two, it'll help you to trust your shots.
So that's going to really require that I not do any extraneous motion.
Yeah, give it a try and see what it feels like. Give you a relatively easy shot, but a little bit of a cut.
Well, my pool professor told me once you never want to hit a straight shot if you can help it.
Everything you need to do up to the point of delivering the shot, and then stop.
Well, that was eyes closed, which is an interesting sensation.
It is, isn't it? And that went right in the center of the pocket. So now what I want you to do is I want you to close your eyes. I want you to count to 10. And then I want you to open your eyes and see if you're still aimed at the shot.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. I shifted a teeny tiny bit. So I was there and I started there.
Okay, shoot.
Didn't quite go in the middle.
Perfect. So that right there, it's not a trick shot. It's
Right.
just proof that if you've got everything locked in and everything is lined up correctly and you're comfortable and you're not, if you get down on the shot, you've seen sometimes, this has probably happened to you, but you see other people do it too. They get down and they're like adjusting their whole body to get in the line of the shot. I guarantee you, if you close your eyes, you're still going to be doing a lot of this.
Well, one of those things you taught me a long time ago is if you need to make an adjustment, stand up.
Exactly.
Get your feet right, make the adjustment.
Right.
Don't adjust it once you're down there.
So if this drill or this exhibition shot of shooting into the pocket with your eyes shut or looking away is more impressive, right? Because
Yes.
people can see that you're not paying attention to the shot. But I mean, even a shot like this, assuming this is going to go in, and it feels like it will, I should be able to look away.
Still weirdly enough.
And that just proves that I was confident in my lineup, and I didn't move. Right? I didn't need to move.
Wonder if this is something worth videoing of myself when I'm doing it.
Sure.
Probably both straight on and from the back. The side's not going to tell you much.
If you want to do that, I would set up right on the rail, right down, like say for instance, you want to shoot a shot into this corner. Set up on a little tripod right here, right down the line of the shot.
Set it from there and just watch.
Yeah. And then, and you can see with your, now what did you just do?
I've just looked around to figure out what my aim was, which is not what I want to do. That's not right. That's something I got to get in the habit of doing because I haven't been doing that right.
What's that?
I've been adjusting as I get there. You know, wiggle my hips around till everything is where it's supposed to be, as opposed to getting up.
There's nothing wrong with that as long as you stand up and then settle into that position, right? Because just like with golfers, if you want to use that same metaphor, you know, what do they do when they're looking here? They're doing this, and they're looking to see how they are aimed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what do? You know, they do very micro adjustments.
A little wiggle their feet a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
They might not even move them that much, but they're just getting in that comfortable position, right? So that's kind of what you need to do is figure out what the aim is,
Mm-hmm.
right? Micro adjustments are okay while you're down, as long as you get up, stay in that same line that you've just discovered, adjust your feet a little bit. Then that helps to lock yourself in that aim, into that position.
See, I'm wiggling my hips, something I need to get out of the habit of doing.
And when I say get up, I mean get up and just
up.
step your feet. Right here, like this. Get down on the shot. Boom. I'm there.
So your hips, legs, arm, everything is exactly the same every time. It's not right. You move your body in the right place as opposed to adjusting anything else. That makes good sense. Give you
Well, there's a
reproducible
certain
stroke.
position when I'm down on a shot that I feel most comfortable. I like my elbow bent, so I'm a little closer to the ball. My knees bent, you know, my hips out to a certain point. This is the same position that I like to shoot from, whether I'm up a little bit on it or down. So if my aim's a little bit off and I move even a little bit, then everything is off. I feel like I'm out of balance. So I need to get up, get back down, get up, and you notice I'm shuffling my feet. I'm adjusting my feet.
Okay.
Because the thing about this is, like when you're shooting a gun, you want to be exactly the right position, right?
Mm-hmm.
Aiming. And if you're not aimed at, if in the case of a gun, it's a little bit different, right? Because you can make micro adjustments one way or the other, and you're breathing to try and get right on the thing, and then you just squeeze the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
But with this case, the trigger is not just your finger. The trigger is your arm. That arm needs to be in the right position.
Mm-hmm.
That arm is attached to your body, right? So your body needs to be in the right position to put your arm in the right position to be able to pull the trigger. So if this is off and I'm not going to make the shot, I need to move my entire body to put my arm and when I say my arm, but the whole machine from the cue through my arm to my shoulder all need to be right in that right spot. They need to be in the right plane, mm-hmm. and they need to be the right distance away, right? I could line this up like this. I want to be a little closer. So I change my grip. And then I need to change the plane, this way. And this feels good. And now I might make one little micro adjustment. Even if I need to go from a draw to a follow, I'm going to do a little bit of an adjustment and come right into that follow shot. Everything is a micro adjustment. Every time I do a micro adjustment, I get up, do a little shift, and get back down. And the shift that I do is similar to when you're driving and you do micro adjustments to the steering wheel. You're not thinking about it, right?
Mhm.
You're not thinking, oh, I'm drifting to the left, I need to steer to the right. You don't do that, right? Your subconscious automatically does little micro adjustments. So I'm not thinking I need to step to the left, I need to step to the right. I just get up, make a little micro adjustment, get back down. It's like the top of my body knows where it wants to be, the bottom of my body just needs to follow.
Needs to catch up.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anything else specific that you wanted to cover tonight?
I wouldn't mind having another little round about banking, and so I have a heck of a hard problem with that. Now, Dr. Dave and you have gone through this technique a bunch of times. One of the things you told me to do was just line up a bunch of balls like this, bank them off into this corner.
Mm-hmm.
But I swear to God, I keep doing that and I keep getting inconsistent results. It's like if we put that ball in that line
Mm-hmm.
and I aim for that diamond, that should go right in there,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Sure. Do it with the cue ball.
Oh.
Problem with trying to practice banks when you're striking the ball itself
Uh-huh.
is that if you don't put exactly center ball on it and you hit any kind of English at all, it's going to severely affect the shot.
So that's probably what I'm doing wrong because they go all kinds of places. All right. Well, that's weird. Well, that's what I've been doing wrong. I've been just trying to shoot those things without.
No, when you're practicing banks, don't hit the ball directly. When you're doing practicing your aim, and you just want to aim to shoot the ball into the pocket, that's fine. But if you're going to practice banks, make sure that you use a cue ball.
Then there's another question that comes up with these regularly, which is, suppose that I want to bank this ball into that pocket,
Mhm.
but I'm here. So when I hit that, it's going to hit the cue ball on the way by. You know what I mean? It's like you bank it in here, but as the ball comes off, it didn't do it that time, but sometimes
I understand what
we're
you're
in a
saying.
position where it
Like
wants
if you want to shoot this bank, and the cue ball is like right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the technique for that? Do you put a lot of draw on the cue
There
ball?
are some advanced techniques. This is where you actually play around with the idea of throw,
Mhm.
and throw induced spin, which is the opposite of
Spin induced throw.
right.
Throw induced spin.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, actually, it's cut induced spin. It's not throw induced. I'm sorry, that's the wrong word. It's cut induced spin. So what we want to do is we want to make this ball go into the rail a little straighter, but have enough little bit of spin on it to change its trajectory into here.
Okay.
So what I would do now on this one here, if I try to just do it straight, I was able to get by. But at a certain point, you can't.
Right.
That's what happens.
Right. And that's what happens.
So what you do in there instead, and this is a tough shot, but I'm going to shoot a little softer, and I'm going to put some right-hand English on it, and I'm going to aim it here instead of here.
Okay.
I'm going to aim it to overcut it.
Uh-huh.
That way the cue ball can get out of the way. Ooh, close.
Close.
It is a
Right,
tough
now,
shot.
What just happened there? The cue went behind the ball.
Yeah.
So
what you're doing here is, so the ball's here. If you do a regular bank where it comes in this way, this will come here while this is slowly going this way, and it'll come back and hit it.
mm-hmm.
So what you want to do is you want to cut it a little more. See that?
Mm-hmm.
I want to cut it here. if I cut it there, it comes into the rail, but it also has a little bit of spin to it because I'm cutting it. It's introducing a little bit of spin to the ball.
And that'll bring it over.
Exactly. We kind of demo that like this. We'll do our little trick shot. So you'll notice right here, now I'm just eyeballing this to see if it'll work. I want them to be touching. Okay. So the 12 ball, you can see, is aimed straight at the rail.
Right.
But with my cutting the ball, it introduces enough spin on it
Bring it back in the direction.
that it goes into the pocket.
That's going to take practice.
It does. It does. If you want to do a shot like this and you want to make this ball, then I would just do the angles and then just put that 1/2 degree of gearing English on it. So that way you can just shoot it straight. You're not having to worry about that, about cutting it to induce spin on it or anything like that.
Now that's interesting. That crossed in front. The other one you did crossed in back.
What do you mean?
All right.
They both crossed in front. Like if I do it like this.
I thought you had one that went there and then this one bounced off and that one slowly came around and back.
No.
All right.
No.
That's just what I thought I saw.
No. So like here, right here is probably where I get a double kiss. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some right hand spin on this just to kind of induce a little bit more friction.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And you'll notice, like I said, the putting spin on the ball doesn't transfer a whole lot, but the cut does. This one here, let's see, let's just do a cut, just straight shot. Those aren't easy. Those crossing over kind of banks are not easy. But if you do something like this, and instead of trying to overcut it, I'm just going to aim it right there. And put just a hair of gearing English on it. I feel like that's a lot more accurate. If you can make this object ball go into the rail without any English, then you're going to be a lot more accurate on your bank shots. And something that you can do, and there is a technique, there is a Dr. Dave actually teaches a really good technique for discovering exactly what angle. It's a little bit too complex, I think, and it's a little bit too much to put in your head right now. But there is a way to calculate. If you shoot a little bit harder, so this ball is, instead of rolling into the rail, is sliding into the rail, you can actually do a little bit more of a cut. And you notice here that I'm aimed straight at the 8 ball, right? If you come over here, you can see that ordinarily that should miss right to the side. Long. But I'm gonna hit it with some speed.
Well, that'll change the angle, bring it much more cute.
Kind of straightens it out a little bit. It's hard to explain exactly why that happens, but basically if the object ball is not rolling into the rail and it's just sliding, it comes off a little bit different.
Right. Dr. Dave explained that somewhere I saw. Partly has to do with compression of the rail and partly with things are not rolling.
Yeah.
Pardon me 1 second. I got to answer a quick text. I apologize.
No worries.
All right, I gotta crap. Organizing people. It's hard work. Share contact. Yes. That should take care of that problem. All right, where were we?
What I would recommend you do is, I can teach you systems, but with bank shots, I think that the best thing to do is just hit the balls
Just
and
do a bunch
practice
of them.
and observe, right? Give your
Yep.
mind a chance to kind of absorb what happened. So, you know, you look at a bank shot like this, there's a difference between hitting them hard and hitting them.
Yeah, I figured that out for sure. It really
Yeah.
changes the angle of reflection.
But a shot like this, you're going to find yourself in a game with a shot like this many times. So I want you to kind of go ahead and chalk up. I don't want you to measure angles. I want you to just feel it.
Well, eyeballing it looks like it needs to go in right about there, which means I need to hit it right about there. Which was close. Now, if I'd hit that softer, that would have been in.
Most likely, yes. You want to, I notice a lot of your shots throughout the night have been harder than you probably should be shooting. Your
Now,
shots,
when I'm playing, I usually am hitting it pretty soft.
you need to have a real kind of a deliberateness to your shot. Not a. That's better.
More like that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that soft, but all of your shots should have a very deliberate delivery. You don't want to you don't want to do it really fast, right? It should always be. It's okay to shoot hard sometimes, but most of the time you don't need to.
Well, most of the time I don't, because most of the time I can control the ball a lot better with a medium shot or even a softer shot. That one's going to be a little more interesting.
No. See? No thought, just bank them.
No thought, just bank.
Just bank.
Close.
And those are okay because your subconscious is cataloging. Don't adjust, just shoot your bank shots. Every bank shot is a hair different, right? There you go.
Weird. This is more than I've ever made. Of course, it helps it's a slightly smaller table. Now, if I hit that a little softer, it might have gone in, or a little bit less angle.
A little less angle, or actually a little firmer would have gone in. That speed, or maybe a little bit more, is probably ideal for most bank shots. If all you're trying to do is just make the bank shot.
That amount of oomph.
Yep.
Well, this is weird.
Not
More
weird at all.
consecutive bank shots I've ever made in my life.
You're not overthinking it.
That's what it is.
Yep. And the great thing about this drill is that it gets it put into your subconscious. Ooh. And after a while, these feel like you just can't miss them.
Haven't missed very many of them.
You haven't.
Surprising me, no end. Am I still going for this pocket?
Oh yeah. Now, something like this takes a little bit more deliberation, but you don't really need to think about all the angles and all that. All you really need to do is come over here, figure out where you need to hit that, see the contact point, trust it, and then just give it a little bit of gearing English, okay?
Not enough. More angle.
Don't think in terms of more than your last shot.
Just think in terms of what I think it needs.
Yes.
Like about there.
And then, see, here's the thing. When you're practicing these, they all become very, very similar, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you start dialing in, and you dialed in very quickly, and you're just nailing them, right? Now this one is a little bit tougher, but you make a couple of these, and they're going to start dialing in on these as well. They're not going to be as hard as you think they are. And just remember that your harder shots, especially on these cuts, they're going to straighten the ball out a little bit. So,
all right, so maybe not quite so hard.
Yeah, that was a little bit on the high end.
Yep.
There you go. See how good that delivery feels?
Yes. One of the things that really has happened in the last 2 or 3 months is I've developed a stroke that feels, I can tell when my stroke is right.
Mm-hmm.
So my arm folds a kind of interesting way. Not quite. What do you do when the ball is a lot closer?
Closer where?
Closer to that cushion.
Like this?
Yeah. Make any difference?
It does. It does a little bit. You want to overcut it just a hair.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot. Just think about overcutting it. Don't try to adjust your aim.
Sort of like that wasn't too bad.
No.
It was close.
Here's the thing. I can kind of tell you a little bit about Dr. Dave's system.
Uh-huh.
Just in a way that gets you to understand that sliding balls are different than
rolling balls.
Rolling balls. So let's say this ball is going to hit the rail here and go into there. Okay.
Okay.
We measure this spot. We don't go straight into the rail like we do for a rolling shot. Like this is the line, and we roll towards this diamond. For a sliding shot, we measure here.
Okay.
Not here. So this right here is about 1.7. We'll call it that. Okay. But let's just put it off the rail a little bit so we don't get a double kiss. Now, from 1.7, we double that to 3.4.
3.4.
Which is here.
3, 4.
Then we add 10%, which is 3.7, 3.75, which is
about
now
there.
the diamond's here, so which is about here. This is the line. And I don't need to put a ball there. I just know where that is. And I point directly at this ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is going to hit at 1.7. Right there. Now, that is the line that I want to hit to make that ball. And if you look at it, it doesn't look like, come over here. It doesn't look like that's lined up for the pocket, does it?
Nope.
It looks like it's over. It looks like it's going to go too far.
Yep.
Shoot it. Shoot the 13 dead straight, stop shot. You don't have to slam it, but hit a nice firm shot, stop shot. It actually, so let's see, let's do 1.5. 1.5 to 3.
3
plus 10% is 3.3.
3.3, which is there.
Which is here.
There.
Right, that's 3.3, so that's the line we want.
Okay.
So give that a try. Oops. Okay.
Firm stop shot. Now,
Even so, it came up light.
so was that hit it harder, hit it softer, or just cut it more? Cut it more is my inclination to think that's what I need to do there.
I think because you didn't put any running or any English on it, in a lot of the cases here, let's see if this works. The system is pretty accurate, but you also have to be very accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So let's put this at 3.5, which is right there, which means I'm going to shoot from 7.7, which is right here. I'm going to put a little bit of right-hand English on it, just. Yeah. So it might be more accurate on the 9-foot tables. I do this at Crown and make them dead every time. But yeah, but even so, I'm shooting more than the angle and it's coming up short.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea there is, the reason I show you that is because if you have a shot like this, then you really want to kind of overcompensate a little bit.
Yeah.
Put some right-hand English on it. Okay.
And cut it a lot.
Cut, not a lot. Shoot it like you would normally try to make it here, but maybe like you're trying to make it here.
Okay.
Just try to overdo it just a little bit. And you don't have to shoot it super hard, just a medium shot.
That was too hard, and that's probably what brought it in.
Well, the problem isn't the speed of your shot, it's the speed of the ball. It's how quickly you're going from stop to start. Deliberate stroke.
Push the ball.
Deliberate stroke. So you can see that it does require
a lot of cut.
Yeah. There you go. Do a few of those, you'll start to get the feel of them.
Uh-huh.
Same thing with the almost straight in banks, both sides of the table.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, you can get a feel for the ones that are far away. You know, do the twice the diamonds,
mm-hmm.
right? And you don't have to do like, this is 1.2, I'm going to 2.4. All you have to do is, this is my reference. So if I go straight over the ball, that.
Yeah, I go twice as much on that end and half as much.
From the diamond to the tip,
right.
From the diamond to the cue is
mm-hmm.
is double. So that becomes my aim point. And that's for naturally rolling ball.
Look at that. You've done this before, right?
Once or twice. So those are good to practice.
Yeah.
But it's also good to practice the shorter ones here and just do them by feel. And sometimes I like to practice, like, I'm not just trying to shoot it in, but I'm trying to get position, like down on the rail, right? So figure everything out.
Now, how did you know you were going to get that to go down at the rail?
Well, I mean, it's not. I'm not shooting it directly on the line. My cue ball is off to the left of it, right?
Right.
So it means my cue ball is going to go in this direction, but
right.
It's not going to go too fast. So I need to hit it harder, which means instead of shooting here, I'm probably going to shoot a little steeper, which is going to give me even more. And I'm also going to put a little bit of right-hand English on.
Not exactly the intended result, but
no. So this one here, like I said, is just hit a million balls is the best practice method.
So your cue ball goes to that end, and these go to is the cue ball different weight or size? Why
no, it's an electronic table.
Oh.
You can actually it has a little sensor and it can detect when there's a cue ball versus a regular ball.
Huh.
So you'll hear a click here because it moves the bar. This one, you won't hear a click because the bar is out of the way. But when this goes down, the bar will go tap and knock it out of the way.
Huh.
Tick.
Clever.
Yeah, it's just a little electronic eye,
Uh-huh.
and it can see the whiteness of the cue ball, which is really interesting because you would think if a stripe went down
Just right. It's
just
the same
right,
thing.
every once in a while you'll get a ball come down. On my table, it hasn't happened, but on some tables, especially the batteries are low, you get that occasionally.
Huh.
Or if the two balls go down at exactly the same time, like it does something like this.
Well, like cheap bar tables, I always assumed the cue ball was a little heavier, a little lighter, and that's how I decided how it worked.
On a lot of the bar tables, the Valley tables, sometimes the ball is a little lighter or heavier. Sometimes it's bigger or smaller. The more modern tables have a magnetic core, like a metal core inside the cue ball. So if you took your own cue ball, it would come down with the other balls. But if you use the bar's ball, it'll detect that. And what it is, it's going on a rail that's very barely balanced, right? But the magnet in it causes it to fall off of that rail enough to fall over into a different area. So,
well, I was thinking, most of my experience, honestly, before I started going to Crown and coming to visit you, was cheap bar stuff when I was in my teens. My honest to goodness, had hardly played for 40 years. I never really knew what I was doing at all.
All right. Shall we put our principles to the test?
I think that's a swell idea.
Okay.
Which cue ball do you want? And I'm assuming the ghost ball comes off.
Yes, the ghost ball is not used in a regular game. Either one's fine.
Oh, there's one out there now. Let's see. I think the ghost ball lives here.
Ghost ball's there, and the other two balls, just drop them in the table. So have you used my racking technique I told you?
I have. I do everything with the check mark.
Yep. 5 stripes, 4 solids, stripe 8 stripe, 3 solids, shift, shift. All right, your break.
All right.
You can use my break cue. It's right over there.
Got it.
Ooh, that 10 almost went. All right. Which balls should I take?
Okay, let's look at the table. That's a trouble spot, but that's a little bit of a trouble spot too. I would probably be inclined to think that you're better off with the stripes. You've got that one there, those there that you can make, and that one's pretty easy to make. Those are going to be a little trouble, and you can get to that. But I would say probably stripes would be where I would go. What would you do?
I would do stripes. Really, the only trouble ball is the 15. I can get to the 12. If I can get fairly straight on the 13, I can get on the 12 as well. And if I get an angle on the 12, I can make the 12, bump the 7
And
out of the way
15.
and still have a shot on the 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I like that. All right, you go ahead and shoot it.
Now the 10 is not what I should go after because that's it's guarding the pocket. It's also too easy to get to.
It's not really guarding the pocket because that 4 can be shot in either of the corners. Once the 9's out of the way, it can be shot in either one. So
we usually use that as a transition moving back and forth, but all
you
the
don't
stripes are at that end.
exactly. So it's not necessarily a bad ball to start with.
Well,
If you can do a stop shot on the 9, you can get the 11 next.
Well, I can do a stop shot here. If I hit the 10 first, I can't do that stop shot. I won't be aligned properly.
Correct.
All right, then let's do that.
So focus, shoot dead straight, and just stop it right there because you have a perfect shot on the 11 when you do.
Didn't quite stop.
Nope.
I assume that's, I didn't quite hit it squarely.
No, you didn't.
So would you bank the 11 over here? I think I can cut it in.
Are you stuck on the 11?
Am I stuck on the 11?
Is that the only ball you have to shoot? Should evaluate every ball.
Hmm.
Just because you wanted to shoot the 11 next doesn't mean it had to be it has to be the next ball.
I can take the 14 down to the far corner.
Could.
But that's the only other thing I really can see.
So do you feel better about shooting the 11? And I wouldn't bank it. I would cut it. If you cut it, what happens to the cue ball?
It's going to come out here, which will give me a shot on the 10 and maybe a shot on the 12.
You hit the 11 in and you cut it. It's going to be coming in this direction.
Yep.
It's not going to veer off too much of that because it's a thin cut. So it's probably going to run into that 4, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But if you miss the 4, you don't have another shot after that. You do have the 10 still, and that might save you. So it might be worth cutting the 11 if you feel comfortable about that. And I would aim to try to hit that 4. If you can hit the 4 square, you can actually shoot the 12 next. So I like to cut myself, but there's nothing wrong with the 14 up to the corner.
And this is where I should probably use a half a tip of right English.
No, not for this thin of a cut. For this thin of a cut, you don't want to use English, because if you use the tip a little bit of right English, you're going to squirt a little bit to the left and you're going to hit this ball too fat. This is a surgery shot, okay? Cut this with this much. You're talking about probably a 70 degree or more. This much, don't use English.
Okay.
Be very accurate, with your delivery, very deliberate, follow through.
Not quite hard enough.
Not a bad shot though. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and follow the 10 in, and I'm going to put the cue ball up here to try to give you no shot if I don't follow it in.
Well, you did a decent job of leaving me no shot. So I don't see anything I can get in. I'm trying to figure out if there's any place I can do a safety and get you in trouble. And the answer is not that I can see.
Well, where would you ideally like to leave the cue ball?
I'd like to leave the cue ball where you can't do anything with it.
But where? I mean, specifically.
So down here is a good spot. Right back there is not a bad spot.
Just remember that even if I can't make a ball in that pocket, and I probably could. I think I could easily make one of these balls in there. But even if I couldn't, me putting the ball in there and leaving you with a bad shot and putting your ball in changes the dynamics of this table seriously. So you don't really want to give me something that I'm going to be able to put that ball in easily.
Okay.
So you might, instead of leaving it over here, you might be better off leaving it down here somewhere. You could get down here by thinning off the 13. You can hit the 13 over to this rail, right? As long as either the 13 hits the rail or the cue ball comes down and hits the rail down here, either way.
Yeah.
Just don't leave. If you leave it like right here, it's perfect. If you leave it up here, if you bounce off and come up here, I'll have a shot at the 1. So you just have to be careful.
All right. So this needs to be a relatively soft shot, but at least hard enough so somebody does what they're supposed to.
It's not bad. I don't really have a shot on the 1, so I call that a success. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call the 2 in that corner pocket, At the same time, I'm going to try and nudge the 14 so I have a shot on the 5. And what I'm aiming for is right in the center of the pocket, because the 11 should go in and the 2 ball should have enough forward roll to kind of follow it in.
Now, Dr. Dave, when he talks about this, talks about backspin on the cue ball to give forward spin on the object ball.
Not from this far away. This far away, the 2 is going to have natural roll no matter what I do.
Nice shot.
Thank you. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot the 1, try to come back, hit after 2 rails, and tap that 14 a little bit.
Well, just out of curiosity, why don't you take the 3 ball here with a stop shot, and then you can nudge the 4 through there, come back and go after the 1?
Because I need to get to that 5. I need to open it up as soon as possible, and my 7 is surrounded.
Okay.
The 3 ball's a fairly easy ball to make from anywhere in the center of the table. So
save it for later.
Save it. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's try to take care of my trouble balls first.
That must be one of those principles.
Yep. Oh, not fantastic, but not terrible.
Well, you're well set up to put the 8 ball in, except for not time.
Well, I like this though.
Cut the 6 into the side.
6 into the side, and then hopefully I'll be able to free up my 7. It's going to have to require...
So do you hit that fairly smartly so it bounces off to move the 7 out of that cluster?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot it with some follow, kind of drive the cue ball into the 7 and also into the 13. The 7 should hit the 15 out of the way, and hopefully it's going to clear up the 7. It's a lot of collisions. I'm pretty sure my cue ball is going to hit the 7, 13, and kind of end up over here. The 7, hopefully, will kind of, it's probably just going to stop. It's not going to have, it's going to move the 15, but it's not going to go too many places. So, but I still have that 3. So that's one of the reasons why I left it there. And that was the idea. Free up the 7. I had no choice but to put English on that. I didn't want to, but it's the only way I could hit the ball cleanly. But now I feel pretty good. The 5 is still kind of tough. The best thing to do would probably be to leave the 5 for a shot up here, but we'll see what I can do. It's going to be hard to get there. Maybe I'll do it now. If I can follow this between the 13 and 7, and I can get underneath that 5. Let's see what I can do. Well, now it's going to be hard to get on the 7.
I don't think you can cut the 5 here.
No. You know what I can do? I'm going to try it. 5 ball right here. Oh, it came off straight. Oof. Okay. Your turn.
All right. I would think in this situation that I want to cut the 14 in, leave myself down here, get the 15 out of the way. Then the key is if I can leave the cue ball here, I'll have a straight shot on the 12, or I can clean that one down.
That's kind of tough. That's a tough call. Shooting the 14 is going to send the cue ball down that way, and you'll have to really control its speed. If you shoot the 12 right now, okay, you got a clean shot on it in the corner pocket. Cue ball comes out this way, and then you get a shot on the 15.
Or the 14. All right,
Well, the 14 ball, though, is a really good key ball for your 8 ball as a final shot.
Sure enough. You know,
I would focus on these 3 balls to try to clear them out if you can.
Yep.
Because if you can shoot the 12 and then the 15 and get a slight angle on this ball, follow it. You make it up there, you follow out to the middle of the table, you're done.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh, that's so nice. Now this is a perfect setup for the 13. Just make sure you give yourself just a little bit of an angle so that the cue ball will come off the rail when you shoot the 13.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, I would just go up and nudge the rail a little bit. That'll work.
Is that what you meant, or
Yeah,
bounce it out some more?
yeah, that's good. A little bit more of an. I mean, in a perfect world, I would have wanted a little bit more of an angle, but I would just follow this up a little bit to get, you're going to shoot for around right around here.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to come off that rail too much, and don't try to. Just make the shot, and just take whatever the table gives you.
Which wasn't that.
Right. A lot of times what happens, people try to shoot something like that. They try to manufacture more of an angle to make the cue ball come out, and that's what ends up happening.
I was just trying to put it in straight, although left the cue in a great spot for the 14 had I made the ball.
Yeah, you did. Well, I'm not going to try and fight this at all. I'm going to take what I gave myself. So I'm just going to come across to this rail and try to come out right about to there. Oh, a little far, but I think I can make this.
Now, what's the preference of that as opposed to cutting it?
I would have normally cut it in. I just
Just
played around.
just screwing with the student? Is that what we got going
No,
on?
I figured if I do miss it, give you a chance to make these last balls. So
Nice shot.
thank you.
Wonder if someday I'll be able to do that.
Oh yeah. Well, try one right now. They're not as hard as you think they are. Here.
And we want to bring it to that corner?
No, right here.
Oh, there.
Yeah. Just picture that corner in a mirror. Instead of down there, it's up here. And this is where you're aiming the 15 ball. All right, get out of my house. You've had enough today. Nice shot.
All right. I got to figure out where I left all my little pieces.
So how do you feel about today?
I feel like I made some real progress. I
Yeah.
learned some more stuff. The game's just getting more interesting. Is what it's doing.
What you find out is that the more you know, the more you realize you need to learn, the more that you realize there is to learn. There's a lot to this game, but
Yes, there is. But kind of like the more you succeed, the more interesting it becomes. I've got little joint protectors for that I put down somewhere. That goes here.